So
you know what this would be good with is a piece of chocolate.
That's a good idea.
It has the right notes that a little bit of chocolate would really go well. It would accent it pretty well. Or if you could whip up some bourbon balls, those would probably be delicious with this.
There's some white chocolate ones in the refrigerator.
White chocolate.
There
we go.
What can I do?
Chocolate.
The best I can do
chocolate.
is a white chocolate bourbon ball right now. It's in the refrigerator outside. I could do white chocolate mints too.
Why?
Because they're there.
Chocolate.
They're from Christmas.
Dark chocolate.
Yeah, I'm with CT on this one. Dark chocolate.
White chocolate is like if you had nothing else and you're like, oh shit, we got to use something. We'll use this white chocolate.
Well,
like,
just so you know, that's where you're at right now. There's nothing else, and we have to use the white chocolate. I mean, he described the situation. It's not like it's that everybody else ate all the chocolate bourbon balls, the dark chocolate bourbon balls, and now we're at. So if you got nothing else, I got some white chocolate bourbon balls.
So my thing to that is going to be
that would go good with tequila.
No, you don't. Why even make the white chocolate ones? Just make the good ones, and then that way you won't have any left over.
No, white chocolate is the bomb when it comes to bourbon balls. It might not pair with whiskey as well, but when it on its own, it stands the fuck up. Yeah. It does.
Young Nose, do you agree that if you had made only the chocolate, they'd be gone? You wouldn't have any in the fridge still?
No, I actually ate the last.
Absolutely.
I ate the last chocolate one last night.
Well, it's because you like white chocolate.
Right before you got there.
That's pretty crappy.
He makes the white chocolates, so they're left over, so nobody can have them because he likes the white chocolate.
And just like that, he said last night he ate the last chocolate one, but he left the white chocolate one that is so good.
No, I had 3 white chocolates before you got here yesterday, and a chocolate. Because just so you know, they were made before Christmas for the Christmas, and I didn't realize they were still in the refrigerator. And I walked outside, and I don't usually look in the outside refrigerator. That's my wife's thing. That's where she keeps stuff she wants to hide from me. And I'm like, you were hiding them from me. And she's like, you're damn right I was. And I'm like, I'm eating them now. And I'm just like, and she's like, get away from those. And I knew better not. She goes, did you just eat the last chocolate bourbon ball? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, what about the 40 that were in there? And she's like, okay, never mind.
Yeah. And Chris isn't coming over later and he won't want one.
No, he wouldn't want one. He likes white chocolate.
Yeah. Go back to this.
This is Alan Bishop, head alchemist at Spirits of French Lick. Be on the lookout for a brand new bottled and bond Solomon Scott rye whiskey. Made from a mash composed of 65% rye, 35% corn, and 5% victory malt. This 5-year-old 100 proof rye whiskey is a throwback to early 1800s style rye whiskeys of the Ohio Valley. Named after the legendary Daisy Spring Mill distillery owner turned moonshiner Solomon Scott of Paoli, Indiana. Remember, drink responsibly and never drink and drive.
Hey, Scotchy Bourbon Boys, Tiny here to tell you about Log Still Distillery. Log Still Distillery is forging new roads for generations to come at their old Kentucky home by bringing bourbon back to Gethsemane. Guided by Wally Dant and cousins Lynn and Charles Dant, Log Still is firmly built on faith and family. They fill each bottle with respect while honoring the history of bourbon and their family itself, ever mindful that faith, family, community, and bourbon paved the way for future generations. They invite you to visit them in Gethsemane. Sure, you'll find a lot that's shiny and new, but what you'll feel is something deep and soulful. Visit them also on the web at www.logstilldistillery.com.
It's sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. Man, we talk some shit, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys.
Okay, everybody, welcome to another podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. I'm Tiny.
I'm CT. How's it going, everybody?
And we have
Young Nose.
Woo, Young Nose is in the house, live from South Carolina, Charleston. Correct? Yes.
You were about to say Cincinnati, and that is not correct.
No, I knew South Carolina, but I was thinking Anderson. You know how my brain works with Super Nash and everything.
That's Super Nash. Yeah, he's on the other end of the state.
Anyways, that was Kenny Fuller of the Luca Mariano Old Americana Band, and he did that theme song for us. And Steven, I hear it all. So Alice, she's gonna be 7. Okay, her 7th birthday is Sunday, and she runs around the house singing, "We're the Scotchy Bourbon." It's so funny. It's just like, and she knows the words. You know what I mean? She's heard it so many times. So that awesome. Theme song. Love to do that. But yeah. All right, everybody, let's just do this part. www.scotchybourbonboys.com for everything Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Check out the website for t-shirts and wonderful Crystal Glencairns that we got from Martin Duffy, who is the North American crystal glass representative for the Glencairn Crystal Company. And we just were in Galena with Martin, and he does a fantastic job, right?
Martin's awesome. He is he's got great stories, which that's always fun. I think that's part of
everything. Yeah.
So we love the stories. We get to hang out with some pretty cool guys, but Martin's very unique, and he brings something about him that everybody kind of cultivates to him. They want to come around him and talk to him. He knows so many people in the industry. So,
well, and what's cool about Martin is Young Nose. I mean, you did the Scotch. I think we did 2 with him. One with about Scotch, where we hung out at one time, and then the other time he was on with a distiller friend that we had a hard time getting to get on with us. Remember that?
Right. Yes, I do. I remember it.
Just wouldn't hook up, but we basically, Young Nose knows what he meant to us, how he got us our Glencairns, and what he did and helped us along in the industry to talk about certain things. And honestly, we went there to meet up with them, and then we found out that we like Dalmar Scotch, and that's something that CT picked one up today or yesterday, and we like it. So we're gonna try and get the people from Dalmar. They do single cast and blending, and get them onto the podcast. And so he's like a connection for us. So that's kind of a cool thing. And then remember, we're on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, and then also on all major podcast formats. If you listen to a podcast, we're on it. So make sure you check us out there. This is our 3rd podcast this week. I did one on Tuesday. As far as then we did one Thursday for our St. Patrick's Day. Now we're doing this one, and then actually yesterday we were podcasting. We were going live, not actually doing Scotchy Bourbon Boy podcasts, but we were doing Cleveland on the Rocks podcasts. So, all right, so we'll wait there. Young Nose, there you go. You're back.
Yep.
How it works, right?
Oh, yeah, it works.
Yeah, wonderful. So this podcast, we're going to review this again for everybody. We did this on Facebook Live, but we when John's Young Nose's son was born, he came back for a little bit for it was a baby shower. And informed us, we went to the baby shower, that they were naming their son Silas. And in the back of my mind, because a lot of people were like, Silas, there's not a lot of, if you think about it, there's not a lot of Silases, right?
No.
So when you're thinking, right. And so it might be now that you've named your son that. Sometimes once you name your kid that, everybody else is thinking the same thing. But I knew that name. So you went back to South Carolina, and I was going down to Kentucky, and all of a sudden I was in the Party Source. Well, no, that's when I bought it.
Okay.
But I was in Party Source, and I'm like, that's where I knew it. It was Silas Jones, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like,
you called me up to tell me that there was a whiskey named after my son, and to ask if I named my son after said whiskey. And I'm like, no, because I hadn't heard of this whiskey before.
Your wife would have killed you.
Right, but we still don't know deep down if that really. It's still a cool name, but there is a chance that he knew about Silas Jones before I did. So, but he's gonna hold to the 5th. As long as possible, there's no doubt. That's how I would plead to that. I would plead the 5th, even though that just makes it more. He's just going to be that much more epic because of this, right? You know,
exactly.
just think of Silas. 22 years old at the whatever. He's got a big full beard. He's at the bar. He's like, "Give me some of my whiskey. I'm named after."
Yeah, that could come back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, my name's Jeff. There's not a lot of Jeff. Now, there's Dalmar, and then there's Jeff Dalmar. No, wait, that's Jeff Dalmer. So that's.
Oh yeah, you don't want that one.
Yeah, I don't want that one. Right. That's makes. And Chris, do you know any Chris? Maybe some Christmas bourbons, right? That's about it.
I've never put any thought into any bourbon or whiskey that was attached to my name.
Is there a Thompson bourbon?
Not.
I know there's no Mueller bourbon. There's Miller beer, so that's right there. But
yeah,
maybe something in the works.
Yeah.
My own.
Well, maybe we'll just be like Bourbon Pursuit, where I'm Kenny, you're Ryan. We'll just do blends, and then it'll be what would we call it? The Mueller Thompson. No, that sucks. MT.
There's all kinds of names. It could go with let's see,
the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We could just call it. We'll just put Scotch and bourbon and
tequila
and oh god.
Oh god.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll make the bourbon and then we'll mix it in. We'll mix it in Mexico, and then they'll by accident put our bourbon together into some 90 gallons of tequila, and then we'll just call it. We won't call it FU. We'll call it fuck you. We'll just go right for it.
Yeah, I think it could work. We just got to find somebody to mess up the blend.
That Fucklehead, yeah, that's what it's called. Leatherwood has Fucklehead, and its basically logo is this. It's not the middle finger. I gave it to somebody.
Oh, okay.
It's gone. I gave it to the kid. There it is. I gave it to the kid. I figured that's a drinkable whiskey that he could. I'll see if next time he comes over if he actually has any left. But that brings us to what we're doing this morning. We've got a couple people. Anybody want to kick in with questions or whatever you're watching? Feel free. But we have we did not drink our samples. Funny thing is I pulled 4 ounces from
a bottle this size.
From 750 milliliter, I pulled 4 ounces so that I could have 2 people on a podcast, so we could do a podcast, and he got the rest of the bottle, and it's his son's name, not the last name, but
there's a funny little story with the bottle on that one too, because between last June and then this June, we had to move apartments, and I neglected to let Tiny know that we had moved. So he sent the bottle up to my old apartment building and basically called me up or texted me and asked me, it's like, hey, I sent you up a bottle. I sent you up a package. Did you get it? And I'm like, no, I haven't gotten anything. And so I was like, well, we then I realized, well, maybe he had the old address. So I had to go to the old apartment, knock on the door, and talk to the people that were there, and just basically ask them, and basically pray that they didn't just like take this bottle and just drink it themselves. And at first they said no, they didn't have it. They had no idea where it was or what it was. And I was just like, great, all right, well, they either didn't have it, it never showed up yet, or they're lying to me.
Or it went
So,
back or something. Yeah.
While I was driving back to my house, to the current apartment, the lady texted me because I gave her my phone number to see if, she texted me and said, "We do have the package. Our daughter found it the morning of, and then just like hid it basically put it in a closet because she didn't know what it was or who it was." And so they let me know that they actually had it. So I had to go back, and luckily they still had it. It was still in the box. It was still packaged up. It was all taped up. It hadn't been opened. So I got lucky on that one, but that was an interesting little story. So I got home that night and I was like, yeah.
Well, but even so, what even adds to it more is I sent the package off as a surprise. So I didn't tell him there was a package coming, but I had it, whatever. I put it and I thought he'd get it and go, "What's this?" Open it up. See, he's got the Silas Jones, right?
Yeah.
And I had taken the samples off and everything. So the week that I sent it, I think I sent it on a Tuesday, and I didn't hear from him for the week. I thought for sure if he opened it up, it was supposed to get there Thursday or Friday, that he would just call me, right?
Yeah.
Weekend goes, and all of a sudden I forget about it. So it's 2 weeks later. And I'm like, on a Friday, if you remember, it was a Friday. I'm like, "Didn't you get the package I sent you? I thought you would have called me." He's like, "Nope, I did not get the package." So all of a sudden he's like, you could have seen it. I could just imagine his eyes got big. He thought there's a package of whiskey for him. So all of a sudden, the next thing he does is he calls me. I went to the apartment. I'm driving back and they didn't have it. And he's all dejected. I'm like, "It was Silas Jones." He's like, "Oh my God." And then all of a sudden, while he's on the phone with me, he gets a text and he goes, "They got it." So then the next call was from his house. He had gotten back and he opened it and he was thanking us. So it's just, yeah, that was a cool.
Did you know that bottle existed, that the Silas Jones? Had you heard it before?
No, I have not heard of Silas Jones up until this point because, like I said, after the baby shower, Tiny was asking me if I had named my son after this bottle, and I'm like, no, I had no idea this bottle existed, and he wasn't exactly sure at that point if there was one. He's just like kind of was thinking that like, isn't there one? And then he must have found it and then sent it up. So I had no clue. I really had no clue.
Well, and then that was probably what, late November, right?
It was before Christmas. It was like by the time I actually got the bottle, I think it was like the second week in December when I actually got it.
Yeah.
And it was gone in January 2023.
I think I called you. You had finished work, but I think I actually called you on Black Friday.
Yeah.
That's I had sent it out, and then you went and got it, which the next day I think was December. So
it was somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yep. And then we were going to podcast one time, I think, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then, just time is going by so fast. I just can't believe
it. Right.
Silas is going to be a year old. It's almost like we're drinking that to this. So anyways.
What's funny is you smell this. So we were looking up, Young Nose, we were looking up before kind of where this came from. And the funny thing is when you research Silas Jones online, there's not a lot of information about the distillery, what's going on. So then you dig a little bit and you find out that they're actually bought out by Sazerac, like every other brand in the world. But then you dig a little deeper and you find out that this is actually coming from what it looks like from Barton. Now, when I smell this, I smell Barton.
Mm-hmm. Do you smell Barton or 1792? Well,
it to me even reminds me of some of the old Bartons that I've drank, but it's been a while ago. But you definitely get the nose that.
Well, Barton always, to me, has, and 1792, that charcoal. It picks up the char. I think they use the ultimate char possible, that number 5 char on their stuff. And it definitely is there. Now, it's a little bit light, like beer-like in your glass, right?
But not bad. I mean,
it's a little, but not bad. You're right. And then this is CT's thing. Do it.
I'm looking at the
spin it. He spins. He can do that. And everywhere he gets some whiskey in a Glencairn and it's spinning. Now I cannot spin like that. This is my left hand. I mean, I don't even know. It's
don't do it. You're gonna spill it all over the place.
I'm not spilling it.
It's gonna spill. It's going.
I can't spin it. I can't even do it. Let's try it right-handed. Is it more of a wiggle?
I don't even know what to tell you.
He is so much better with things, I'm sure, with his hands than I ever.
Right now to watch you do this.
There we go. Look at that. I'm getting a little. You're doing a spin. I'm doing a swirl.
Yours is a slosh.
Look at this, a swirl. I got it a swirl.
A slosh.
But it's not a thin legs.
No, it stays. And
do you know what? Do you have the stuff up? What's the proof? I think it's 90. I don't think it's 80. Is it?
I think it's 80. It is 80 proof. It's 40% alcohol by volume. It doesn't really give the blend, what it is percentage wise, because you can't find much out about it online.
Yeah. How did you end up finding this bottle, Tiny? You just randomly come across it, or
this is me. You go to Party Source right across the river from Cincinnati when you're going into Kentucky. It's the first exit or the last exit, depending if you're going or coming. Mm-hmm. And you go to it's in the owner of the Party Source built New Riff Distillery. He owns, but once he built the distillery, he found out he couldn't own a liquor store. So he sold his liquor store, because you can't be a distiller and a distributor. Whatever, right? You're not allowed to do that. So he had to sell his liquor store to the employees. So it's an employee-owned liquor store. They got wine, they got everything. So
I thought I seen the 1792.
right in here, right down here, all my 1792 is right on the second shelf behind the chicken cock. The whole line, whatever you want. See it behind the chicken cock? Right? No, up above, second row. That's all behind there. That's where I keep my 1790.
Where's your old Barton?
I don't have old Barton.
Oh, you don't?
I will not drink old Barton. I tried old Barton at Barton's and I did not like it.
So it does.
I had very old Bartons.
Yeah, the very old Barton was better. But I think but I get that flavor to it. I don't know if it's maybe 1792. It's interesting that Silas Jones, the one thing that you could find out about him was that he was a judge in Bardstown, which is obviously where where Sazerac now owns 1792 Barton is in Bardstown. So some cool history. There's not a whole lot out there about it, but it's a relatively easy drinker.
Yeah, it's very caramely.
At a
it was very tasty from what I remember, and that's kind of the reason why it didn't last long.
Yeah, it's easy to drink. It's not hot.
Oh yeah.
It's got the caramels and
it's got a little of that peanut nose too. Smell that?
If a little bit or the char, I can't tell if it's.
No, I'm picking up the peanut.
No, not in there. Okay, I was thinking if maybe I still had the bottle.
Mm-hmm. Look at the legs on that for an 80 proof. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So back to this bottle. If you like that flavor profile that you're going to get from the Barton type stuff, which I think that hits it right in there, is you're going to go to Kentucky to pick this up. You got that bottle in Lexington that went to Young Nose, right?
No, that was actually in Covington.
Okay. But you can get it throughout Kentucky. It's a great price point. It's under $20 for a good drinker, and it's something that's going to be different than what most people would go to with Benchmark or Ancient Age or some of the Ezra stuff that's sub $20. This is definitely a different flavor profile for the price point. And I think it definitely is one that you should have on the shelf.
I like it. I mean, I'm drinking it right now at 10:54 in the morning.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not even St. Patty's Day.
Yeah,
that was yesterday.
This is the day after.
So
This
yeah,
is the morning that you keep drinking to get rid of your hangover from last
Yeah.
night.
have you ever watched the movie? I think it's Sandra Bullock's in it. It's The Heat. where-
Yeah.
So
No.
they go to the bar that night and party, and then they wake up with like in the bar with just random guys that were there.
Jessica
with them.
McCarthy, right?
Yeah. That movie's hilarious. But that part reminds me of probably a lot of people from yesterday. They probably woke up at the bar that they got at.
Well, we
7 o'clock in the
know
morning.
100% that Matt is definitely
we were
woken.
alive this
Yeah,
morning.
he woke up at the bar he was at because his bar is in his basement.
Yes. And we took him back to his bar, so we
Yes.
hope he's made it upstairs alive this
Yeah,
morning.
we were on if you check out Cleveland on the Rocks on YouTube, but still check out the Scotchy Bourbon Boys on YouTube, but check out Cleveland on the Rocks. You could see that we were live yesterday,
we
did
had
a
some
live
fun.
from there, and then also recorded 2 tastings. We actually got to taste blackened, regular blackened, and then also Wes Henderson's Wes Henderson, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
His blackened version, and then we also tasted Joseph Magnus cigar blend on the 2, which
batch
were
88. I think batch 88. That was delicious.
it was delicious. So had a lot of fun. So it's funny because right now Paul Travis Johnson is watching, and we got Young Nose Johnson. Do you have any relationship right there, Mr. Young Nose? No.
No, probably not. Only in name, in name only.
Only does. So, all right. So the other bourbon that we're gonna taste, we got 2 other fresh Glencairns here. Is CT brought me up something. I have a lot of Bardstown Bourbon Company, and Bardstown Bourbon Company. If nobody knows too much about it, the master distillers at Bardstown Bourbon Company are Nick Smith and Steve Nally. Steve Nally has been around and been at a lot of different distilleries and produced some damn good whiskey in his career, but he is finishing that up at Bardstown Bourbon Company. He's a treasure, and Nick Smith has been working there from the beginning, doing his thing, plus also learning from Steve. But then also Bardstown Bourbon Company contract distills. They started it. The owner who died suddenly in the middle of this, he basically was setting up to contract distill for brands, and he was a visionary because when he started to contract distill, everybody said this is not a viable blueprint for making bourbon. This isn't how bourbon gets done. But yet he was a visionary because this is exactly what, especially being in Kentucky and doing this. And I'll give you Green River now has been purchased by Bardstown, so that's under their label. But Kentucky Owl has been being made under their label. The Highwayman made under their label. Their own stuff, Bardstown Bourbon Company, while they were going, they were purchasing, and they're very, very transparent on what they bought. They purchased Tennessee whiskey, they purchased Kentucky whiskey, and then they were taking their own younger distillate and mixing it with 15-year Kentucky to make their bourbons. And on every single bottle, you have this chart right there that tells you exactly what their bourbons are. And they've got this really cool artwork on each bottle. So whatever your series is, they'll have the artwork for different artwork for each series. Very cool labeling, the very transparent, cool bottle.
Beautiful.
So they've got the organization down for their own brand, but then you sit there and go, really? That's made here? Or they distilled that here, or they're blending that, or they're aging that. It's just like there's so many different brands. There's a couple. I'm just not. When we were there, I know I said Kentucky Owl.
Well,
but
we even know that our friends at Hainer, that they're using them for some of their stuff. I think they are kind of helping a lot of people who are starting out and trying to get their own distillates going, but need something in the meantime and needs the know-how. I think that's some of this is they're going to them because they have the knowledge, they have the facility, they have kind of the whole package to get them going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and then chicken cock whiskey. Greg
I was
Schneider.
just going to mention that.
Yep,
Our good
yep.
friend, Greg Schneider.
Young Nose was at that podcast when he released the chicken cock 15-year. Let us taste that. You remember that podcast?
I remember that. I remember all these podcasts at all the distilleries. And it's amazing how friendly and just welcoming all these people are. But you know, that experience has just made it. And then yes.
So just so you know, this right here, I don't know if I showed you this, what Rachel gave me for my birthday.
Oh, I've heard about it. I haven't actually seen it.
So this right here is like a key. and
it's a key to a bunghole.
Oh, yes, it is. You sick fuck. God damn. No, actually, CT saw what this key means because we were down at Indian Creek. I just mentioned I have one. And the next thing you know, we're at this tasting cigar thing and we're in their warehouse, their aging warehouse, thieving a barrel. Then when we did mention it at Blom Brothers, but we never really got to it because it was pretty crazy.
So we did at Thornton.
But then at Thornton we did it and we were in there.
Oh, we could have stayed in there.
Oh my God, we were drinking and this pulls stuff right out of the barrel. For instance, we also when I went to Watershed a couple times with Aaron, I didn't have this myself, but Aaron was thieving. And the rye they just released was the barrel that I was in. So if you can get in those barrels, and where this initially was christened was at the barrel pick at the Spirit of French Lick.
Yep.
So that went into
that went into the toasted brandy barrel, right?
It went into this
the smoked apple brandy barrel.
This bottle.
Yeah.
Now you tell me what the hell that says. Do you remember what the name is? Because the labeling kills me. I don't.
This is it, but. Yes.
What is it called? Malatrable.
Well,
you read it.
It's 137.7 proof.
Yeah, Tiny's blind. He can't read labels.
Well, this is wrote in such a second grade calligraphy looking. I am not even sure what the hell.
How's that?
Yeah. Now you look more.
The glasses are not going to help you read that. It's something dope.
And then Alan signs it. To Jeffrey, meaning like Jeffrey the giraffe.
Yeah, from Toys R Us.
And this bottle is fantastic. I mean, this was right up your alley right here. One of the things that it's
oh man.
Well, so what is Milandrope? Milondrope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Melandro, whatever, smoked apple. You know what? Alan's gonna have to just like chime in and tell me what the hell it is because.
But it is amazing. It is so good. That was a very special barrel, and I think it's on the page. You've got several times where we are pulling from that barrel.
So this is a chocolate malt and corn.
It's Rice
bourbon.
Krispie treat. It's the Cocoa Rice Krispies.
Cocoa Krispies.
Yeah, that is Cocoa the taste Crispy. Of that bottle. It is amazing.
So,
notice they didn't use white chocolate malt.
Oh, bite me.
They used chocolate malt.
If they could make
the white
chocolate malt would be horrible.
And then the other one, John, that I picked up was the Hindustan Falls.
Oh, you were showing me that the other day.
Yeah,
that
was a nice bottle.
Yep. So all these bottles that are coming out of French Lick are freaking amazing. And then this one here is called Dead Drop. That came from Thornton. Cool freaking bottle, isn't it?
And
that is really sweet.
Show that bottle again because this is pretty cool. So the middle of the bottle, you'll notice right in the middle of the logo, there's a cutout with a water droplet.
Yeah.
That water droplet is because of their artesian spring that's underneath of the distillery. They wanted to bring that to the actual bottle and everything.
The artwork.
The Dead Drop name came from the way they used to leave liquor back in, I can't even remember when he said, but they would leave it at the back door and it was called a dead drop.
And then if you look through the teardrop in the bottle,
Back of it,
the back of the label shows like a key or whatever. It's really kind of a cool.
That facility is amazing. It's
Yeah.
such a cool place to go.
And meeting Ari, he was like, he's on his game. And, you know, it was like meeting when we first met Alan. You know, he really kind of knows what he's doing and whatever. All right. So we're getting back to the Bardstown Bourbon Company.
So you left off with the fact that they've been blending and using this and that to make their last, you know, the Fusion series.
Their collaborative.
And then they came out with a couple of different distillery collections, like the West Virginia. They've got several good, but over the years, I mean, there's been series, the batch 3 might have been better than
Discovery
6
and Fusion were their main ones, but now this right here that he brought up is the Origin series, which is their bourbon. I mean, you could just read about it. I haven't had it yet, so he's going to pour us one this morning, I thought.
Yep.
And I told you probably see a lot of whiskey that I got to send some up for you.
So yeah, the thing with the Origin series is they came out with 3 bottles. 2 of them have been released. The third one is not. The back of the bottle shows the wheat. That is that label. This is their wheated, and it's a bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof. They also have a white label, which is just a straight bourbon. And then they have a rye of this coming out. It has not been released yet. But this came in at a point where people were like, okay, here you're going from, you've been blending these other things, and we really like Origin. We really like the collabs. There's been a lot of good things going on. What's this going to be like? Because now this is your own stuff, and now you gotta live with it, or you're going to fall on your face. And it exploded. Everybody who has done any reviews about it, love it. The wheated is probably one of the better bottles you can find out there for $49. The problem is it's so sought after right now, you can't find it. You'll find Bardstown, you'll find the Blue, the Fusion, you'll find the collabs, but these bottles have done so well that you just don't see it on the shelf. So we're going to try it.
Yep.
Fresh crack it.
So another pull for you, Young Nose, is you remember Jason Sparkman. Remember when we talked to him? So me and Young Nose at work would from time to time see Facebook. Remember when Alan Bishop, the first one of the few, we knew Alan, but he did a tour of the Spirit of French Lick online, and we were watching it. He was at his desk, I was at mine. He went through, and this was during COVID because nobody knew what to do. So Alan was doing the tour, and we were a little bit down because, you know, half the people weren't able to work or whatever. But at the same time, Jason Sparkman had posted, if you remember, he was at Wilderness Trail, and he posted that it was snowing, and he posted a picture, and he was fermenting at Wilderness Trail. And then there was another time he did it, and the stillage system, they came into work and was backing up. So he posted that online, and we kind of got to know Jason and went down there, and he got us our first interview with Pat Heist and Shane Baker, and he sat in on that. Well,
I remember.
Jason's went from there to wanting to be a forklift driver with benefits to like being there for 5 seconds and then getting a job at Limestone Branch Distillery with Stephen Bean. He was there for about a year and then got a job. He was applying for a lot of distilling jobs and got a job, and now he's a distiller at the Bardstown Bourbon Company. So that's where Jason. So we not only met Nick, but we know Jason, and we see him when he gives us tours. You know, Greg gives us tours of the bar. So our Bardstown Bourbon Company roots are deep. And then also the one other thing about Bardstown Bourbon Company, when you were there, John, it was You saw what the rick houses were, okay? There was a big
Yeah.
open field with a couple rick houses, right? And we went into that one rick
Oh,
house.
yeah.
We walked across the open field. There's no
Yep.
open field anymore. It's rick house after rick house. It's full of rick houses, the whole damn thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I've been down there, but yeah, I remember the setup, the landscape and everything was beautiful. So now it's full of rick houses, which is great because
Yeah, as far as you could see.
I know when we were there, they were talking about adding more into and basically doubling their production and stuff like that. So
then when
crazy.
When we were there this past December, we stopped in to see Jason and drop off the Knob Creek pick that I dropped his pick off. And then he took us on a tour and they were finishing up the fermenting. They were doubling their fermenters. And we were like in upstairs with where the plastic was blowing, because that's what they were using to cover up, where they were, doing the construction to keep it warm and a little warmer in there while they were constructing. And then he on January sent me a picture and they had finished it. So now they're using those fermenters. They're just moving that quick. And then they buy Green River, who was already contracting distilling. They initially were Ozzie Tyler. They were doing a different direction, but right now they've got Green River. Aaron Harris, who we know from Watershed, is their master distiller. He works with Steve and Nick. They're all kind of together, and they were contracting Terry Bradshaw's bourbon, and they're contracting different places. And now they're going to be making the stuff for Bardstown too. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much Bardstown is doing and how much they won on this complete. Now Bardstown's.
What's up, Carl?
Oh, we got whiskey.
Whiskey's on.
Whiskey.
So we got whiskey. Well, the group is we're missing Roxy because Roxy's babysitting children this morning, grandchildren. She went over there. I'm going to go over there when we're finished with this. Chris has CT's heading home. He's got a puppy.
Yeah, that my kids didn't know that they named him after a bourbon as well.
What's the puppy's name?
Luca.
Yes.
So my son thinks he named him after a basketball player, and I'm like, you realize you just named him after a Luca Mariano bourbon, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Carl said to suck it.
Yeah, that sounds about what whiskey says.
Carl, you missed that part of the broadcast when Jeff had his thief out, so sorry.
Yeah. But if I had that, I wouldn't be sticking it in your mouth, buddy. Here comes. He's gonna reply. Oh yeah.
Have you drank it yet?
Yes.
So the one note that I get out of this, and it's kind of weird, I get a juicy fruit flavor in this. I don't know where it is, but every time I get a little bit of juicy fruit.
I will give you that, but I'll also give you earthy. That's earthy on the it's earthy on the finish. It's a little, there's some wood tannins and a little bit of earthiness, but the juicy fruit is
more mid palate for me. Yeah,
wait, no, juicy fruit. Is that the one? Are you just talking about the yellow juicy fruit, or are you talking about the juicy fruit in the zebra stripe one? Like the
no, juicy fruit. Zebra stripes, no.
I will go with fruity pebbles.
Fruity pebbles.
You're just trying to...
No, I'm going with fruity pebbles.
I know what you do.
I mean, if you could go with he goes with Cocoa Crisp. I could go with fruity pebbles. Same damn thing, just one's fruit and one's cocoa. Fucker. You're talking about juicy fruit. I'm going with...
I said juicy fruit.
I'm going with fruity pebbles.
Carl, I need some help on this one.
Tastes like corned beef and cabbage. That makes sense after yesterday. I'm sure it does.
Yeah, he was upset because they didn't have his Reuben when we went to eat dinner, so he had to go with a braised
Short ribs.
Short ribs, which look delicious.
They were. Very good.
Get a little tobacco, sweet tobacco on the finish.
I'll give you that.
Sweet tobacco. Since we're naming things, we'll just call it Red Man.
No, I barf.
Red man.
No,
Red Man or Levi Garrett on
No.
the back end.
no,
Does that
I'm
sound
going more
pleasing?
skull.
A skull.
Skull. Bandits.
Wait,
I
no,
asked
wait.
Carl
I'm
for
gonna
help.
go way more.
Carl
Kodiak.
said that's more than
Kodiak. Grizzly.
Yeah.
Kodiak. I'm going manly. This is a. So Abresh Kumar says, very nice. Yes, this is actually a really good one. Give me the.
It gets better than the
All right,
second,
I
third
could do
drink.
it because
What do you need?
I'm gonna read the
mash? I got it.
right there.
So here we go. The mash. Corn, 68%. Wheat, 20%. Wait a minute. 20, 68, 28, and then malted barley is 12.
Okay.
What's the 4%? What's the year?
It was distilled in fall of 2016.
And it's 23. So that's a 7-year right there.
It says 6.
6-year because it was
Because of
22.
bottle. Yeah. Just bottled at the end of the year.
All right. Yeah. It's like they're
but
putting.
it does get like the flavors get better the second and third drink. The first one, I think you pick up a lot of that wood, like you said, the first drink, and then it kind of that goes away, and you start getting more of the juicy fruit. And
What were we talking on proof?
100 bottled and bond.
Bottled and bond.
Yeah, bottled and bond. Yeah.
Very good body. I'll give you that. The body's really good.
The thing I like, and it gets better every drink. Compare that to a Fusion series, which would be what, $69? Is that right? Blue bottles are about 69.
Yeah, 69, 70.
My thing with the Fusion series is from batches 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 and 9 I thought were really good, but I can't remember 6 or 7. One of them was not as good. But I feel like this is a very general bottle that everybody's gonna like. There's something in that they're gonna like, whether it's the
richness.
Yeah.
The
Right.
It's a
The
bourbon
sweetness.
drinking experience, and it's not your normal wheat bourbon. I would let's just pick a couple wheat bourbons that you're going up against. You're going up against Larceny. You're going up against Old Fitzgerald. You're going up against what else? What's the other one? Larceny, Old Fitzgerald, Weller is a wheat bourbon. You know, you got Pappy.
Mhm.
It's not in the realm of Weller and Pappy. That's not what this is.
no,
But it's more like a Larceny or there's one other wheat bourbon that is, well, it's Old Fitz, right? Yeah, Old Fitzgerald
I'm trying
or
to think of.
there's
different
one other
ones.
one.
Well, there's more.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I mean,
just not.
Alan does one at French Lick. They do a
Well,
wheat.
William Dalton this is not William Dalton. William
No.
Dalton's on a level
It's
of
different, yeah.
Yeah,
But
this is different.
there's several weededs out there, but I have the white bottle as well, just the bourbon, and the bourbon definitely has some more fruit flavors to it. The profile is different. I personally prefer this one over the white label. I just think there's more complexity here. I like that dark. If it's a dark, whether it's a tobacco,
was
sweet
this
tobacco-
$49.99?
Yeah, the other one's
Yeah.
$44.99.
Yeah,
In
it's,
Ohio, which it may be more depending on where you live. Could be a liquor store in another state charges more. I don't know. Carl said Old Elk.
nope. That's a barley bourbon.
Old Elk. Yeah.
Old Elk is 34% barley behind its corn, and then it finishes with rye, so it's not even a wheat. Although Old Elk has a wheat whiskey, a complete wheat whiskey. This is a wheated bourbon, correct?
Correct.
So wheat whiskey in its own category is fantastic. I mean, honestly. I think, yeah, actually, Carl's right. There was a weeded bourbon also, but that's not their standard. They do
have
a weeded
several.
bourbon. I think they had one of those on the pick. They had a wheat bourbon, their regular bourbon. They had the Oloroso cask, the cognac cask. Yes, they did.
Yeah,
he is right as far as that. I don't. My brain was frying. All right. So, anyways, I think that's delicious.
That's a winner.
You know, Silas. It's like
both bottles for
Yeah.
a different spectrum of price point. Those are ones, and I would have to venture to say, even though Silas isn't readily available in Ohio, it's easy to pick up. It's on the shelf in Kentucky. This I saw more when we were. I'm trying to think of where I was. I saw this, but in Ohio, it's been hard to come by. But I would imagine that you're going to see that around more and more as time goes on this year. So, both good bottles to pick up and add to the collection.
Well, I can guarantee you in 3-4 more years, you're going to see a lot because they just are producing insane amounts of whiskey. That place runs 24/7.
And you were talking about the merger with Green River, and Green River just announced this last week that they are coming out with 3 new of their own, right? Green River's coming out with a barrel proof.
Yeah. That I'm getting those samples.
Yeah. So Green River is following suit with these type of things that they're and Green River has been true to one bottle. Oh my God, for I don't know how long. It's been that one single bottle, and it's a good bottle, but they haven't had any variety. And now they're kind of following suit and going to come out with 3 new ones.
I mean, all I could say is when I went there and they were Ozzie Tyler, they had a different direction. They were really trying to do the rapid aging. And when they got out of the rapid aging and started getting into the actual distilling and everything they did, Green River came out of it when they changed their name to Green River, which was probably about a year ago at this time, and then started releasing and pushing and marketing. But it's been that only one. And now they're coming out with more, and then the whole thing went Bardstown, but Bardstown isn't owned by Bardstown, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Bardstown sold to
Says, right?
No,
Bardstown.
The Pritchard Group, who I think that's his name, not Pritchard, but it's the group that the family is associated with the Illinois governor who was in so much trouble, but he's not associated with their actual, group, and they owned it. And then when they owned it, it gave them a lot more, and a lot of the investors in Bardstown Bourbon Company did well with that because they were all invested. It's exploded, and then they were able to sell. And now they've all taken their money and gone into subculture adventures that Bardstown's, like, for instance, David Mandel with Kentucky Owl and his association with bringing that brand online, building that as a distillery similar to Bardstown. They're breaking ground, going to have this pyramid, beautiful distillery. They showed us in September what they were doing. Looking forward to what they're going to be doing with Kentucky Owl, but at the same time, their contract distilling with Bardstown Bourbon Company. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on. But so anything, Young Nose, what you got in the future? So we'll wrap up. But tell me what's the big plans for the future? There are some big plans, I know.
Well, I guess the biggest plan right now currently is we just bought a house. So we are moving again, which I will give you the correct address again in case there's any sneak bottles that happen to come my way. But as far as future plans, it's mostly just kind of hunkering down and trying to build up my company and get that thing going, to basically move away from full-time employment for someone else and working for myself. I mean, those are the big things in the future. And then we're contemplating on maybe having another kid in the next couple of years. So
yeah,
just basically building up the family and building up my career and just basically establishing roots here in Charleston. So that's kind of the big plans.
I'll do a promotion. Anybody, John is a home inspector. So if you're trying to sell your house and you have a huge basement with a bourbon collection, he would be awesome for inspecting that. He understands how those collections and the value of that bar downstairs would add to the, make sure that it's all working and everything. He knows how to do that. And I'll ask you this question: when you're inspecting your house, did you actually make sure that when you were buying it, that there was a bar in the basement that you could store all your liquor, or no?
Well, there's two things to that. One, there are no basements in Charleston. That is not a thing here. We either have a small, like a crawl space that you just pretty much crawl around in for your utilities, or you have what's called a walk under crawl space, where you essentially build a basement, but the house is sitting on top of a 10-foot structure that is your basement. So there's no real basements here, but unfortunately my house does not come with either of those. It is a slab on grade foundation, so it has nothing underneath. So it's just all one level ranch style. But there is a room that I'm going to make into my office, which may at some point have a small little bar area.
Excellent. Or you could always just park the car outside and use your garage. Turn all your friends over in the garage.
The garage is wife territory. She's going to be parking her car in there.
Oh,
so.
then the solution is you need a bourbon barn. You have to get
exactly right. We do have space in the backyard where I could put an outbuilding.
10 by 20. You can
bourbon barn.
Bourbon.
I like that. You build a bourbon barn, we're coming.
I sell them.
That's a great idea. I like that.
I always advertise when I put them out there for people. I'm like, whether you're going to call it a she shed, a bourbon barn, or a whiskey hut, whatever it is, but it does not have to hold the lawnmowers.
True. That is true.
This is true.
It's going to be my Scotch structure.
There you go.
All right. So we're pretty close. Yeah. Wrap up another episode of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Remember, everybody, welcome back to the show, Young Nose. We got to kind of have it maybe every other month instead of once every 6 months, kind of thing.
Yeah, right. We need to get into more of a regular routine for sure. So.
Yeah. So I'll just have to make sure once you're moved into a house, I have your address. So the package, your housewarming package goes to your house. So that's what
correct. Right.
Don't look at Carl came up with a name for the shed.
Oh, what's that?
You don't want to know.
Oh, okay.
No. The sled hut. Oh my God.
Carl.
Anyways, it's what do you expect?
That's a whole different type of shed.
Yeah.
Carl, we're not going there.
Well, Carl did go there and we're there, but okay. So anyways, we're the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Thank you, CT, for joining me in studio. Thanks for coming on, Young Nose. Boom. And then remember, www.scotchybourbonboys.com for everything Scotchy Bourbon Boys, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, and then also on all major podcast formats. Please, on all of them, listen, like, comment, and leave good feedback. So remember, I should get this ready because I'm going to get ready. I am ready. So just check to see if that's on. You got to turn that back on.
I got to turn it back on.
Turns off by itself, and then I will hit this, and we are ready to go. Here, wait. It's got to be the mail. There.
You told me to hurry up.
No, you're right there. It had. All right. So remember, everybody. Good bourbon, good whiskey equals good friends, good times, and get out and live your lives dangerously, but don't drink and drive.
Be responsible.
Little Steve-O taking us out.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you I tell you we must die.
Hey, Scotchy Bourbon Boys fans, this is Alan Bishop, Indiana's alchemist of the Black Forest. So I'm tuning in here today to tell you all about the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute channel on YouTube. If you're at all interested in the art of distilling, whether it be home distilling or professional distilling, and the intense geekery that goes into that process, then check out the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute on YouTube. I promise you're going to learn something you didn't know before about the art.